Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. B&B's reunion plan for Ridge and Brooke, a double cheating story? According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, there may be a double cheating narrative in the works. Is this B&B's long-term strategy for the reunion of Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan? Although Ridge is currently committed to Taylor Hayes, Eric Forrester made a suggestion that this commitment might not be sufficient. By pointing out that Ridge is not married nor engaged to Taylor, Eric attempted to nudge Ridge back toward Brooke. Eric might have suggested getting married to Taylor rather than putting Ridge back in Brooke's arms. By proposing to Taylor and hurriedly accompanying her to the altar, Ridge might end up solidifying his commitment even more. All of this, though, seems to be Ridge's attempt to hide his feelings for Brooke. Ridge is attempting to escape the past that will always haunt him and bury his fate. Remarrying Taylor won't alter Ridge's relationship with Brooke or cause him to lose sight of the amazing memories they have created together over the years. Although Brooke and Ridge have also experienced hardship, they are always drawn back together after a breakup. This time is not going to be any different, for whatever reason. Even if Ridge and Taylor get engaged, the Brooke thoughts that will be racing through his head in the coming months will still be present. Naturally, a person can only withstand so much rejection. Brooke will therefore begin to consider the notion that she may be mistaken about Ridge being the only man she is interested in. When Nick Marone returns in June, Brooke will eventually rekindle her romance with him, but it might not last. Perhaps B&B's true intention is to incite Ridge's jealousy and provide him with the final push he needs to give in to Brooke. Will Ridge eventually turn on Taylor with Brooke? Will Brooke also turn on Nick with Ridge? If this is the case, the program might be postponing Brooke and Ridge's reunion in order to fabricate a double-dealing plot. In the end, Ridge and Brooke might cheat on their most recent romantic partners. In other words, if Brooke and Ridge's raging desires flare up, Nick and Taylor might both have to deal with the betrayal. Stay in for updates on the unpleasant news Taylor and Nick will have to deal with, as spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful indicate that Ridge's predictions about sticking by her may turn into unfulfilled promises. One word shows that Ridge and Taylor are over. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, B&B, there is a rift in the romance between Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes, played by Rebecca Budig. For Ridge fans who were thrilled to see their favorite couple again, this can't be good. What could possibly separate these two people who are in love? Read on to find out. Are the Ridges over? When Taylor and Ridge got back together, fans were thrilled, or perhaps more accurately, those who were over Ridge and Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, were thrilled. Let's be honest, Ridge versus Bridge has been played a lot. Bridge always appears to have Taylor as the second banana. However, do any of these relationships ever succeed? In the Ridge is a fork. The reason for this is Playboy designer Ridge's readiness to switch the blonde for the brunette at any time. Ridge is currently supporting Taylor and has sworn Brooke away. However, fans heard him say something on a recent B&B show that sparked a lot of rumors. Ridge's declaration to Brooke that he is committed to Taylor was the catalyst. He essentially told Eric Forrester, John McCook, the same thing. What's wrong with this? The only reason is that Ridge has never been genuinely devoted to anyone. Ridge is unable to commit. Is Ridge suffering from commitmentitis? Despite his apparent commitment to Taylor, how many times has he declared his love for her? It sounds like Ridge is obligated to Taylor in order to be committed, is that correct? The problem is that if Ridge dumps her, she can get broken heart syndrome again. Nobody wants it to occur, surely. Ridge picks who? Additionally, Ridge does not want to upset his children, Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, and Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood. We predict that Ridge's heart will soon be broken again because the show appears determined to make her feel beholden to Tay-Tay. Please let us B&B fans know if Ridge is truly over Brooke's CEO betrayal and how effectively he is concealing it. Nick Marone is returning to town, which adds another element to the spicy mix. Do you believe Ridge will act rashly because he is jealous of his brother? What do you think of Brooke's audacious and lovely declaration that she would see Ridge again by Christmas? Ridge is getting out. According to teasers on The Bold and the Beautiful, someone will eventually have to confront him. Ridge is departing. Needless to say, we are referring to Torsten K's character Ridge Forrester. Those who have had to put up with him and all the anguish he has caused them are finally going to call him out for who he truly is, since he has been abusing women in this made-up metropolis of Los Angeles for so long. And there is a man who obviously has no idea how to properly love a lady. Although Ridge enjoys being with ladies and getting their love, it appears that he doesn't do anything to show his own affection. Or the proper way, anyway. In all honesty, everyone is just sick of his antics. The fact that Ridge has selected Taylor Hayes, played by Rebecca Budig, may make her feel ecstatic right now, but that emotion won't stay long. The fact that he will eventually return to Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, will cause Taylor to move out of town once more. But according to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge will be the one leaving Los Angeles because he has to take a long vacation from his life in order to reevaluate how things are going for him at the moment. Taylor and Brooke must find love elsewhere. Additionally, Brooke and Taylor will have the chance to fall in love with other guys after Ridge leaves the show for a while. Despite the fact that Brooke and Taylor occasionally behave as though Ridge is the only male in the globe, he is not. Fans of The Bold and the Beautiful will, of course, need to watch every single day to see what happens next. Stay tuned for more. Fans are demanding that Brooke Logan find a new love after her pitiful pursuit of Ridge. Many fans of The Bold and the Beautiful are pushing writers to give Brooke Logan a new plot and a new love interest rather than clinging to her destiny narrative, calling her persistent pursuit of Ridge pitiful and embarrassing. The most divisive storyline of The Bold and the Beautiful, fans blast Brooke's pitiful pursuit of Ridge. The audience has become tired of Brooke Logan's ceaseless pursuit of Ridge Forrester, calling her actions disgusting and embarrassing, and they are pushing for new plots. Fans are at a breaking point in the decades-long story of Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester. Viewers are expressing unprecedented outrage on social media as Brooke continues to follow her destiny with Ridge in recent episodes. They have called her actions disgusting and pitiful, and they are demanding that the writers give the character a new path. Get up and go on. Brooke's desperate pursuit is rejected by fans. In the May 5th episode, Brooke was shown begging Ridge about their destiny together once more, a scene that has been repeated innumerable times since 1987. However, during these occasions, viewers are intentionally changing the channel rather than cheering for the couple. The way she paws Ridge is getting to be awful. In a remark with more than 100 upvotes, one viewer said, "You've wasted far too much time on that fart in the wind, Ridge. Wake up and move on with your life. I'm sick of hearing, 'He's my destiny.'" "Girl, you're in your 50s, said another ardent admirer. "In the early 60s? When does your fate begin?" Viewers have expressed bodily discomfort while viewing these conversations, and many have admitted that they mute or skip portions that show Brooke's most recent attempt to win Ridge back. The reaction is more than just mere dissatisfaction. Fans ask for new storylines and new love interest. Viewers are in serious need of fresh narrative approaches after 37 years of the same Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor Hayes love triangle dynamics. According to research, fans find Brooke's pursuit of Ridge to be monotonous and pathetic, which frustrates them. With many recommending new romantic partners, it appears that fans want Brooke to move on. To avoid repeating the same relationship problems, some viewers have even proposed certain celebrities on social media as potential love interests, such as Gregory Harrison, who earlier starred in General Hospital. In a post that received a lot of upvotes, one fan wrote, "A new love for her can't arrive soon enough," expressing the general wish to see Brooke find contentment outside of the Ridge orbit. Is Brooke's character unfairly presented in the writing? Many people fault the show's writing, believing it undercuts a once powerful character, rather than Catherine Kelly Lang's performance. The text is criticized for being out of date and misogynistic based on the evidence. This is so pitiful and inexcusable, even though I adore Brooke in all her messiness. One of the top commenters received dozens of upvotes for saying, "It's pure misogyny." Others noted that Brooke's character development had regressed in a worrying way. Only a few years ago, Ridge had to decide between Taylor and her, and Brooke wasn't going to back down. Another admirer said, "Now she's going above and beyond for a man who doesn't really deserve her." Is it time for mature storylines given the age factor? Another major area of criticism has shifted to the characters' ages. Viewers wonder if these desperate love endeavors make sense for mature characters, given that Brooke is shown in the show's timeline as being significantly older and Catherine Kelly Lang is approaching 64 in real life. Instead of playing the same romantic musical chairs they have for decades, some fans argued that Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor should have stories that are appropriate for their age and experience, emphasizing family, legacy, and personal fulfillment. One spectator said, "These three are giving senior citizens a bad rep," implying that the recurring plot lines don't correspond with the characters' actual stages of life. Brooke's next steps? It is still unclear if authors will pay attention to viewers' requests for new storylines as fan annoyance reaches a breaking point. More than merely a critique of a single plot point, the pushback against Brooke's pursuit of Ridge shows a desire for the program to go past its established patterns from decades before. Will Brooke eventually get over Ridge and become the strong person she once was? Will she meet someone new who genuinely cares about her? Or will the show stick to its tried and true route? Fans are clearly turning away from these situations more and more, which is a strong indication of where one of the most recognizable characters from daytime television is headed. Viewers think it's time for Brooke Logan to build a future independent of Ridge Forrester after almost 40 years. There are 3 people who should go back to the CBS soap opera. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, fans want to see some characters return, especially in light of the current events. Why should they come back, and who are these people? Fans are aware of Nick Marone's coming back. Fans are wondering who else they would like to see return after Nick Marone's return to Los Angeles and potential reunion with Brooke Logan. Darren Brooks' character Wyatt Spencer made the decision to sell his beach mansion and relocate to another part of Los Angeles. Since then, Wyatt has, of course, been missing. When it came to Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, in particular, Wyatt was always the voice of reason. Liam ought to have given his brother a call and explained the situation. When Wyatt finds out that Liam is experiencing something so horrible and he is unaware of it, he will be devastated. Will Wyatt arrive home in time to see a miracle, or before Liam passes away? Amber Moore would be a fantastic addition as well. Amber Moore was an extremely erratic con artist. Amber enjoyed stirring up trouble with the Forresters whenever she could. Amber was in charge of baby switches and dubious fashion choices in addition to her romance with Rick Forrester, Jacob Young. Without a doubt, Amber stole the show. Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, may have some problems after Amber returns. Amber might easily take over and steal the spotlight because Steffy is now so preoccupied with Liam. Maybe Amber should open her own fashion firm to compete with Forrester Creations. The Avant family's comeback could cause trouble. Nicole was in the center of all that the Avant family, including Nicole Avant, Rain Edwards, brought to the performance. Maya Avant's sister was named Nicole. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, 3 characters who must go back to the CBS soap. Another individual who might start a competing fashion label and cause a stir at Forrester Creations is Nicole. Even a clothing line that Forrester recently closed might be acquired by Nicole. If Nicole were to acquire Hope for the future and Hope for her business, just think of the drama. Hope recently found out that Liam is dying, and she needs a job. Would Hope be amenable to starting over under a different boss? How would the Forresters react if Hope started dating someone else? Given that Hope won't be hired back by the Forresters, would Carter Walton defect to join her? No part of Ridge Forrester's convoluted, decades-long love triangle with Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes had ever felt quite as final, or as performative, as what he was about to do. Ridge had always been a man of conflicted passions, pulled between loyalty, history, and the pull of raw, undeniable emotion. Except for the woman in front of him, Taylor, who had been waiting in the wings for far too long and who was familiar with his silences and studied his stares, Ridge's expression was unreadable to anyone who might have passed by as he stood in the gentle glow of twilight on the balcony of the Forrester estate, diamond ring in hand. Even still, she appeared taken aback, almost doubtful, when he knelt down, not because she didn't want this, but because she recognized what it was, not merely a romantic proposal, but a declaration, a warning flare, and a statement that was pointed straight at Brooke. Though he spoke it quietly, the weight of his words was louder than any of the heated debates they had all had in that same house over the years. "Marry me." Taylor blinked for a time, hesitantly rather than joyfully. "Ridge, why now?" "Why now, after everything that has transpired?" Ridge, who has always been an expert at romantic misdirection, also chose not to respond immediately. Rather, he stood, grasped her hands, and started talking about healing, their common past, and the family they had created, lost, and reconstructed. He spoke about their kids, how Steffy had pleaded with him to give Taylor what she deserved, and how Thomas, in spite of his own turmoil, still thought his parents should be together. However, he never really expressed his feelings for Brooke, something Taylor desperately needed to hear. Because she secretly recognized that this idea was motivated by retaliation more than clarity. Once more, Brooke had let him down. Perhaps she had kept it a secret. A kiss she hadn't told Deacon about. The illusion he had constructed for the 1000th time was destroyed by a moment of treachery. Whatever it was, Ridge's most recognizable coping strategy, running to Taylor, had been activated. Taylor's therapist's intellect cautioned her against it, even though her heart ached to think that this time may be different. Nevertheless, Ridge's remarks were enticing. He informed her that she was the one woman who had supported him without influencing his decisions, the only one who had never demanded anything, never pleaded, and never made him feel as though he needed to earn her love by repeatedly apologizing. Using that old nickname as a key to her heart, he said, "Doctor, I'm done chasing a fantasy. Now I want something genuine. Something enduring." The words, weighed down by decades of lost opportunities and near misses, hung heavy between them. Ever calm, Taylor felt her breath seize in her throat. She had been waiting for this for a very long time, but she had also spent half her life watching this man switch between her and Brooke. Forever had only lasted until Brooke's subsequent heartbreaking disclosure. Across town, Brooke Logan stood by herself in her living room, a tempest developing behind her eyes, her glass of wine unfinished, as if on cue. She had heard the stories that Taylor had been spending more time at the house, at the workplace, and with the grandchildren, and that Ridge was drawing away. Then Steffy called, a not-so-subtle clue that something was happening, and Brooke understood what that meant. Ridge's spiral was nothing new to her. After being harmed, he would snap, then take solace in the comforting tenderness of Taylor's love. There was a cycle. However, it felt different this time. Ridge had not simply vanished, he had been silent. Too silent. Returning to the balcony, Taylor looked for sincerity rather than passion in Ridge's face. "Are you merely attempting to prove something to Brooke, or are you asking me to marry you?" Tired of being the one who grabbed Ridge when he fell from the pedestal that Brooke had thrown out from under him, she demanded simply. Ridge gave a little but noticeable flinch. With almost too much haste, he answered, "I'm asking because I love you. Because the back and forth is getting old to me. Peace is what I need." Perhaps that was the most truthful thing he had said all evening. "You give me peace." He did receive peace from Taylor. She had always done so. However, she also pushed him when it was important, and this was one of those occasions. "Then tell me," she asked steadily, "would you still want to marry me if Brooke came in right now and pleaded with you to take her back?" Not a word. A long, revealing silence. The stillness that reveals the truth, no matter how skillfully it has been concealed. Ridge did not respond immediately. And he could have made a pledge, but that stillness spoke more. Taylor would store the ring in its velvet box, hidden away, unanswered, for weeks afterward. Ridge would make an effort to appear like a dedicated guy, but his looks at his phone, his erratic gait, and the way his voice broke whenever Brooke's name was mentioned all suggested that he still had an emotional bond that he hadn't yet broken. What about Brooke? This time, she didn't come pleading. She didn't even confront Taylor, she didn't cry in the rain, and she didn't ruin the proposal. Rather, she let go, which was something Ridge hadn't anticipated. And perhaps Ridge would have to deal with that more than anything else. The fact was that, regardless of how many years of history are hidden beneath the surface, You cannot propose to one lady in order to harm another. That wasn't fair to Taylor. Brooke was entitled to truthfulness. Despite his attractions, Ridge Forrester would soon come to the realization that he would lose his crown if he played two queens off of one another. As Eric Forrester's voice raised in amazement, Ridge Forrester stood in the middle of the Forrester living room, the same space where generations of family victories and betrayals had taken place. His eyes were burning with anger, and his jaw was clenched. "What are you doing?" No one could determine for sure whether Eric's fingers trembled slightly because of rage, sadness, or the weight of everything he had constructed being so casually overturned. Ridge had announced without fanfare that he was getting married to Taylor. Not the following month. Not the following year. Right now. And not just out of love, but because he was tired of being perceived as his father's shadow, tired of seeing Eric control things behind the scenes, and tired of the rumors that Ridge would never leave Brooke's sphere of influence permanently. Above all, though, Ridge was fed up with waiting for clearance that never materialized. Ridge stated bluntly, "I love Taylor," but even he was aware it wasn't the whole truth. Yes, there was love hidden beneath the layers of history and duty, but beneath that, a storm of hatred was building. In his son's eyes, Eric saw it. Devotion was not the driving force behind this idea. It was a rebellious deed. "You're punishing me with this?" The room shook under the weight of decades of silence as Eric's voice broke. "Because I said I didn't think you were prepared to be the head of this family? Because I supported Steffy instead of you?" Ridge turned away, moving with a sharp, angry gait. "Dad, this is what I'm doing because it's my life. I don't require your consent. I don't require your approval." That struck a deep chord because, whether Ridge knew it or not, his words echoed a lifetime of unsolved traumas. "And I sure as hell don't need to explain myself to a man who's never trusted my judgment." Ridge had always struck Eric as a man of passion who all too frequently allowed his emotions to overcome his judgment, smart but impetuous, creative but risky. And now, standing here, making a marriage proposal out of pride rather than love? Ridge was a textbook example. The fact that Taylor, sweet, grounded Taylor, didn't even know the true reason for the unexpected proposal added to the sorrow and twist of this moment. She trusted Ridge's words about recovery, fresh starts, and letting go of Brooke Logan's lingering presence. Eric, however, saw it for what it was, Ridge's outburst. Brooke was no longer there. Perhaps permanently this time. And Ridge was unnerved by that fact in unexpected ways. Comfort was provided by Taylor. Taylor was secure. He had never felt the need to compete with the rest of the world to be important because of Taylor. Ridge's method of setting a firm boundary was to propose to her and claim her in front of everyone, including Eric. "You claimed that I would never commit. That Brooke would always be my first choice," Ridge growled. "Well, I'm disproving you." However, demonstrating a point is not the same as demonstrating affection. Eric was aware of it. He now viewed his son as the guy he had raised and had spent far too much time watching pursue the ghosts of love, rather than as the heir to Forrester creations. "You'll break her heart, Ridge," he continued quietly, "if you're marrying her to win an argument." Once more, the crowd fell silent because Ridge didn't want to face that reality. Taylor was no stranger to pain. Set aside. More times than anyone should have, left in Brooke's wake. It wouldn't just end a relationship if Ridge's heart wasn't entirely in this, if he was making a decision that would change his life out of bitterness, spite, or a wish to rebel rather than come together. The tenuous calm that had finally descended upon the Forrester household would be shattered. Ridge, however, stepped up. "You want me to take charge? Decisions are made by leaders. Leaders take action. Taylor will marry me. And I don't give a damn about what anyone think, especially you." The whole truth was revealed. It had nothing to do with love. It has to do with control. In a world where Steffy had taken over at Forrester, Brooke had gone on, and Eric's approval still hung over him like a finish line he could never quite cross. It was about a guy struggling to regain control, identity, and self-respect. Additionally, it's possible that Ridge was unaware of his actions. Perhaps he truly thought he was giving Taylor the happily ever after she so well deserved. However, he was misled by the desperation in his voice. He had no desire for love. He sought approval. Despite his obvious sadness, Eric's voice remained composed. "Then get married to her," he murmured softly as he made his way to the door. Ridge winced, not because he wanted his father to applaud, but because he knew this wedding wouldn't be about happiness. "But don't ask me to celebrate it. It would have to do with division." Unaware of the raging storm behind the proposal, Taylor would smile. Steffy would pretend it was a genuine rekindled love. The wild card, Thomas, would love the drama. What about Brooke? She refused to beg. She refused to cry. She may not even arrive. But every stride Ridge made down the aisle would be haunted by her absence. Afterwards, when he was by himself, Ridge would sit in the shadowy ring box on the table next to him and question whether he had gone too far. If a pride-based marriage might ever grow into something more. If he could really love someone without having to prove himself. And that night, Taylor, gracious, hopeful Taylor, would sleep soundly, dreaming of promises, not realizing that she was going to be a pawn in a conflict she believed to be over long ago.